Hello everyone, this is Candy, the 614 Stitcher, and today is Monday, February the 26th, 2024, and this is my Flosstube episode number 114. I would like to say hello and welcome to any new subscribers that I have received since my last video, and hopefully you will stick around so that I may enable you with a project or two. And to my returning friends, thank you so very much for returning each time that I do upload a video. I have been stitching. Everything is great. Very low-key week. We had another couple of inches of snow over the weekend, so it allowed me to get in some good stitching. I'm going through my second phase of puberty, if you couldn't tell. I don't know what is going on other than hormonal imbalance, which I have suffered from, and now I have the second coming of puberty. I don't know. It's a thing. I don't understand, but it is a thing. I hope you all are doing well. I have just a little bit of stitching since I did just put up a Flosstube a couple of days ago. But this will be my precursor to March, and the question that was asked of me by one of my viewers, subscribers, and so I thought that this would be a good video to do that in, since I am in the throngs of planning for March. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead on and do the regular Flosstube, and then I'll share with you how I go about planning. So I don't have any new starts for this time. So we're going to just go right into WIPs. And my first WIP for this week is Women of Honor Sampler by Rebel Stitcher Designs. And here's a picture of where it was when I last worked on it. And here is where I am now. So here's where the whole piece is looking like. And I worked this border up at the top. I added 154 stitches, which is this entire border here. So that is where I'm at now. This was one of the projects that I put down for Black History Month stitching. And my goal was to get 100 stitches in on it. I am stitching this on a 40 count country mocha, and I'm using all of the called for flosses. She has a mix of flosses for this. And so that is where I am now. I will be trying to put this project and a couple of the others that I've worked on this month into a more of a rotation that I do, because I only seem to work on Representation Matters during February. I'm going to be incorporating them more into my year of stitching, if that, not my year of WIPs, but just in general the year that for stitching, so that I can get more progress on these projects going forward. Oh, so that was Women of Honor, and that was the W in snowshoes. Okay, I also worked on, again, Warrior. If you recall, I said I wanted to get a little bit more stitching in on him before I put him away. Turns out he's not going very far away. Here's a picture of where he was when I last showed him. And here is where he is now. So I have come up. I have finished his face and his head. And I've come around back down to the back of his neck. That's where I'm at now with him. As it turns out, Warrior was chosen for my March WIPGO project by Fickle Stitches, which is Cheryl and Kate. I will link their channel below. So you will see some more. You will see 700 more stitches put into Warrior for the month of March, as he was my WIPGO #1. I am stitching this on a bluish gray Ada 18 count, and I am using Classic Colorworks Anti-D. And as you can see, it is a variegation between purple, a dark purple, and a blue. So some parts of him, like you can see, his foot is purple, part of his leg is blue going up, part of his face. So I am loving this variegation. I added another 204 stitches to Warrior this past time. And I have 2 skeins of Anti-Ds. I looked when I was at Keepsakes the last time, and the dye lot is severely different from the 2 skeins that I already have. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to just do, since it's on an 18 count and I am using 1 thread, that I'll be able to use, that I won't need to get another skein of it, because the dye lot for the purple looks more burgundy or maroon than purple. So here's hoping. Here's hoping. So anyway, my next WIP that I worked on was One Dozen Quakers by Rosewood Manor. I am in the Bake Me a Quaker Sal with EJ. We will be having a Zoom Stitchy meetup on Friday the 1st. So I wanted to get my February portion done before we worked into the March portion. And let me show you where the February portion is all of this here. So that's where we should have that portion completed, or relatively completed. And here's a picture of where I was when I last showed it. And here is where I am now. There are a lot of hanging threads. So I have completed the number 12. this motif underneath the 12, and I started on the this big motif, which is the square. So we should be about halfway through that square by the time we start. However, I am just at that point, but I still need to like fill in all of this. So for March, let me tell you, I put in another 327 stitches on this. I am using different shades of purple. There are some other colors mixed in. So like this is 2 shades of purple, but this is purple and pink. I'm actually considering redoing this down here because it's too close to this shade here, but I am stitching this on a 46 count limited edition by Color and Cotton. That is what it looks like now. So I still need to fill in all of this portion for February. However, since it's also part of March, I'm just going to do the whole block for the month of March, so that when April comes, April starts back over on this end over here. So I want to be able to stay on track with this because I slated it down to be finished before December the 18th. It is on my year of WIPs. I've put it on my year of WIPs, and I want it to be completed before December the 18th. So I need to stay on track with it. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is do the whole section. Part of the section is the lower section of the block would be for May and July, but I believe what I'm going to do is just do the whole section and be completely done with it for March. That also means that I need to finish the border and come down. This last motif is the last motif on the top of the chart. So this is the last motif, and then the border, and you come down. So that is where I am on that. Again, I will be working on this again on Friday in the Zoom Stitchy meetup that we will be having. So hopefully you can join us. It's still not too late for you to join the SAL or follow the hashtag. I saw that there was someone who is actually already finished with the whole entire thing. So you don't even have to stay on the monthly, doing it monthly with the rest of us. You can stitch ahead and finish it if you like to also. I was shocked when I saw that this weekend. Like, oh my goodness. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the person, I can't recall the name of the person that finished it, but she did it in 3 colors. So each motif, she did it in 3 different shades, 3 different floss colors, but it was so beautiful. And she did not do the over one stitching. And I am actually considering, I cannot seem to find, I know there's a floss out there that I could do it in, but the jury is still out on me doing the over one stitching for it. Okay. The next WIP that I have is Temperature Turtles. And that is by Stitching Mommy. And I am working on the February turtle. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So as of right now, I am up to date. Well, so I've decided that what I'm going to do is gather the information from, this is the February turtle. I've put in his head, his leg. I came around, he's all the days up to Saturday are complete. So what I'm going to do is from Sunday to Friday and Saturday, I will be putting in all of the information. So that way I work on this one day, maybe a couple of hours, for one day, instead of trying to do it every single day. But that's where we are now. There was a 60-degree, which is up in here for February, and then 27 degrees, which is here. I am stitching this on a 32 count Whimsical by Be Stitch Me, and I am using a conversion of Sulky that I used on Temperature Butterflies. And they are looking really good. I am going to have to move the Nerge because March, I'll be starting March soon, and it goes right here. So this week, once I need to get the leg in and the rest of the colors through February the 29th. And then I'll start on the March turtle. I am glad that I am keeping up with this. The stitching for the turtles versus the butterflies is a lot simpler because you don't have the outlining of the different sections. So I still need to put in the, I wanted to show you what the fabric looks like. I love this fabric. I still need to put in the segments for the shell. And I think what I'm going to do is use a DMC for that rather than trying to match a Sulky up to it. But that is where I am on Temperature Turtles. I put in 453 stitches on Temperature Turtles this time because I was a little behind. So I had to do like 2 weeks worth of work on Temperature Turtles. And my very final whip for this time is Sweet Wing Studios Without Ceasing. This is on my year of whips. It was my 12/31/23 new start. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So I picked this up for WIPGO, which is categories which are put out by Sammy J. I will link her Flosstube and or Instagram below if I can do so. She has already come out with the March WIPGOs, and I will be giving those out shortly. So I put in, I believe I had the C, E, and I believe I put in the A, S, I, N, G. So ceasing is completed. Now all I have left to do is put in 1 Thessalonians 5 and 17 and all of these little flowers that go around it for it to be finished. I am considering working on this again this coming for March. One of the WIPGOs again is a WIP with words. This fits that criteria, and I could also get my first year of WIP finish with doing that, because all I need to really do is put in those flowers. This is a very long, skinny pillow. Pardon me. I am stitching this on. Well, I don't have it. I don't know. But that is where, and the color is being totally blown out. So I don't, this is on a fabric from my stash. So I still need to put the flowers in and the back stitching for the 1 Thessalonians, which is the scripture, and then it would be complete. So I'm seriously considering putting this in for WIPGOs again next month. I wish I could remember what the name of that fabric was, because it was a fiber on the whim. And I remember I chose it for something else actually, and ended up not using it for that. And now I cannot think of what the name of it is. Okay. So those are my WIPs for this week. I didn't have any finishes, so we're going to move right into plans. So warm here already that we already have flying little things going around. So the rest of my plans for February are as follows. I have decided, after doing some research on shortening bread, that I will not be stitching that pattern. It was very disheartening, the information that I found out about that chart, and so I've decided that I will not be stitching on shortening bread. I'm going to keep it in my I'm going to keep it, but I'm just not going to stitch on it. So in its place, I put shaded stitcheries, black butterfly sampler. So I need to put in at least 100 stitches on black butterfly sampler to take up the slack for what shortening bread was going to. Shortening bread was going to be a new start for me, and I had decided that I just after the research that was done and everything, I decided that I just couldn't stitch on that chart. So I'm keeping it in my stash, but I'm not going to stitch on it. So I put in its place, because it was the S in snowshoes. It was the second S. I've decided to put in shaded stitchery and use black butterfly sampler, and put in 100 stitches for black butterfly sampler for it. I still need to put in 100 stitches for Rosina Disery, which I'll be doing. I have to do the 100 stitches are over 1. And so I've just been dragging my feet, but now I'm at the 11th hour at the end of the month. And so I still need to get those 100 stitches in. And so I'll be working on those for the next couple of days. And I have a new start on February the 29th. What did I do with it? And if you recall, it is a Stitcher's Wish. And I am doing a frog leap year start. And here is what it will look like. It is by Stitchy Pros. And it says, Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might cross all of my X's right so I don't have to frog tonight. And so I thought that was super cute and decided instead of doing like what other people are doing as far as leap day starts, that I would do a frog leap year start. And then I also have another frog, which is by Lizzie Kate, that I will be starting. So I'll be starting 2 frog patterns on the 29th. Okay, I'm going to clean this up and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, I had a question on video 112, and it was crafting with words, and it says, how do I keep track of everything? And thank you so very much, Crafting with Words, for the question. I don't get very many questions, so I was really excited to answer this one. So there are a few different ways that I keep track of everything. The first way is I was introduced to this wonderful calendar a couple of years ago by Keepsakes Stitch. I think this is actually like my third. They come in 2 years. But the first one I got, like, I only used it for a year because the year had already passed. So I think I started using this calendar in 2022, 2021. And it has been a game changer for me. When I first started stitching, I didn't have any rhyme or reason. And I would spend more time trying to figure out what to stitch on than actually stitching. Of course, I was a monogamous stitcher when I very first started, as I had one chart, and I was doing that to see if I even wanted to be to do cross stitching. And even though I was monogamous, you know, I just picked that one thing up. But then the more that I purchased, the more that I wanted to work on. So I started watching Flosstube, and at that time, Carolyn, who I'm good friends with, she was using a calendar. And so I was like, oh my goodness, because I had projects I didn't know what to do with. I mean, I didn't know, you know, how am I working on this? When am I working on this? All of that. Shortly thereafter, starting to watch her, they developed Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Group, which gave me more opportunity to stitch on more things. So one of the things that I use, and this is what is for March. So they put out a sheet for us, and the sheet shows what the theme of the month is, what the acrostic is. Now, this acrostic is different than most other acrostics. This acrostic has Super Challenger on it because they put in hot air balloon. However, I'm only doing the balloon part. So for this past month in February, you can see the theme was in the meadow, and then I put down what was in the meadow. Then each letter I give a different, I gave each letter its own project, and then what the goal was for the project. When I stitch on, now I can stitch on a project several different times throughout the month. For the past 2 months though, I've made the goal very small so that I can stitch on more projects than what's on this sheet. And this is how I keep track. So anytime that I stitch on a project, I write down what the project is and how many stitches I put into it for that particular day. So I'm going to go with a WIPGO because I put in 700 stitches on my WIPGO projects. So the very first WIPGO that I worked on was, I got all kinds of stuff going on because I didn't turn my stuff off. And that just means that it's 6 o'clock. So I worked on, so here, for instance, I worked on Purple Rain on Sunday, the 11th. I put in 228 stitches. Now, Purple Rain is easy for me to know what the stitch count is because it's in Pattern Keeper. I don't have to manually count those stitches. It does it for me. But the very next day, I stitched on it again, Purple Rain, and I put in 166 stitches. Then, which was all that I needed to put in on it, because my goal for Purple Rain monthly is 200 stitches. But if I feel like putting in more stitches, or I have a really good block of color for a particular thread color, then I'll put in more. For Starlight on the water, which was one of my WIPGO projects, I stitched on it 1, 2, I know it was more than 2 days, 3. So every time I pick up a project and stitch on it, I write it on my calendar. And that is how I keep track of what I stitch on each day and how many stitches I get into a particular project for those days. I'm sorry, I'm turning my phone down. And that is how I am able to keep track of where I'm at and what I have going on for each project. So down here, you'll see Leap Day start on the 29th. I have Random Act of Kindness. I want to start doing giveaways on a regular basis. So I'm trying to incorporate different ways to get to give giveaways out, because I have a lot of Ada fabric, charts, all of that I'm not going to use, and so I want to incorporate those things into giveaways. Let me see what else. Oh, I also keep track of my WIPGO, and it has, so I also, here's the whole list of my year of WIPs. And as I complete them, I'll put the date that it was completed next to it. For my WIPGO, I also have that. So here's my WIPGO board. And as you can see, I have, I can mark off the second one now. Coffee, Wine, and Stitching Time. I can mark all of these. This one will be marked off with a purple box around it because it was completed. So I've already put in March number 1 and number 10. And I've contacted those ladies and let them know that they are, and then they, in turn, let me know what they would like for me to stitch on for WIPGO. I keep the number down there. And then I keep, because on my board, it gives names of floss tubers. On this sheet, I keep track of what that floss tuber chose, so that I'll know, like, were any of them chosen already. Not that it makes a difference, because if someone chooses the same project that's already been chosen, I'm still going to stitch on it, if that kind of makes sense. But that's where I put what was called for WIPGO. This is who gets to choose the WIPGO project. And that was put into this using a big sticker sheet. I also use little sticky notes. I also write down all of the projects that I work on. So just because a project, so like for WIPGO, I have all of the WIPGO categories here that were called for the month of February, and the ones that are called for the month of March, I'll be putting in. I already have put them in. I've done my pre-work. I've done my pre-work for, oh, I need to take this call. Okay, so I am a writer. I write everything down. And so I have already put down what I'll be working on for the most part for March. The WIPGO so I participate, first of all, Purple Rain, I have to put 200 stitches in every month regardless. That's a yearly goal that I am working on having every month, 200 stitches. So it goes in my monthly priorities. Then I have my WIPGO, and I have both who chose what for that. Then I am in the 1 dozen Quaker style, so I put that down, that I need to work on that. I'm also participating in the 12 and 24 Christmas ornament style, so I make sure that I put that on my priorities. The priorities listing is so that I don't forget anything. Because there's so many things that I seem to be involved in, I don't want to forget something, so I put it on, I make a list so that I can do the whole check mark thing. For WIPGO this month, or for March, the number 1 is pattern size medium. Number 2 is struggle bus, which for me is give thanks. So you'll see that come out. Number 3 is haven't stitched on in 2024, which there's a lot of those, so I could go with anything. For number 4 is fantasy, and I'll be double dipping and using warrior in with that. And then for number 5 has words, and I will probably double dip that with, no, actually, I don't think I'm going to double dip that at all. I don't think so. You'll see when it comes up. So I hope this has helped crafting with words. I just write. I am very methodical about, or very, I write it down, 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 so that I can keep track of what I'm working on. The other thing too is I generally work on the same projects throughout a month. So I might have, I'll pull in other projects. So for Magazine Monthly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 letters for the acrostic balloon. So those 7 projects will be put in for sure. Then I have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects. So 7 and 9 and 16. So I generally try to work on anywhere between 16 to 19, maybe 20 projects within a month. Some months I get more in, some months I get less in. It just depends on what the month is looking like. So, again, like I'm going to have 2 new starts still for the end of February. We're still in February and I still have 2 more new starts that I'm going to work on. And I'm considering a third, if I could figure out how to get the threads in time, which doesn't look like it's going to be promising. But even if I don't start it on the 29th, I can still start it in March. So I know I'm going to have another March couple of starts. My son's birthday, my oldest son's birthday is in March, and I'm going to have a start for his birthday. I have the perfect chart for his birthday start. And it'll actually end up, once I'm finished with it, it'll end up being a gift for him. So those are how I keep track of everything, all of the moving balls. I do feel, though, that in a lot of ways, I'm overcomplicating it. That it is becoming more like work than maybe a hobby and pleasure. And I think one of the things that is doing that is making sure that I have enough content for Flosstubes. So I need to figure out a way to maybe scale back. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy being in all of the WIPGO magazine monthly challenge group, WIPGOries, all of that. Like, I like being in group activities. I think I just plan it too much down. Like, I don't have any, it's almost like homework, because I spend the bulk of Saturday and Sunday stitching, which is why I haven't been able to put a Flosstube out on a Sunday like I was doing and really want to get back to doing, because I feel like I don't have enough content to put out a Flosstube on Sunday, even though I clearly do. I clearly do. But that's just the feeling that I have. I need to, whatever I have done on Saturday needs to just be what it is. And I need to record so that I can get a Flosstube recorded in a timely fashion. And then whatever I stitch on Sunday afternoon is what I stitch on, and it show it the next week, instead of stitching till Sunday evening and then trying to, anyway. I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's not that I mind doing Flosstubes. I think the problem is not minding to do the Flosstube. It's me thinking that I need to add more and more and more and more and more. And there's only so many hours in a day and so much that you can really realistically do. And so I think that's where my hesitation and anxiety come in with doing it. Okay, so I hope I gave you all of the knowledge, I hope I was able to answer your question. If you have further questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave it down below in the comments section. I do read all of the comments and are very appreciative. The one other thing that I wanted to share with you is I have been putting together my fabric in the hopes of getting my fabric out of bins and out. I was watching Miss Dina half stitch cross stitch, and she showed these bags on her Flosstube a couple of months ago. I ordered them from Amazon, and they have turned out to be wonderful. I am having a difficult time finding all of the coat racks or coat hangers in my home are way bigger than this. And so I ended up putting them on this little rack that I have over my head right here. For right now, it works out well. But this has been keeping the dust and Albert's dog hair and all of that off of them. They are resealable, and they hold a pretty, now this is a 1/4 yard of fabric, and this is a comic board that I stuck down in there to keep the fabric from bunching up. But as you can tell, this is large enough to hold at least a 1/2 yard to maybe even a full yard if you fold it properly. So I will put the information for these down below also. I do not have an Amazon shop, but I can put the information that I did get them off of Amazon so that you can see them in the future, you know. So if you're looking for a way to store your fabric rather than having it in a bin or putting it up in a where you can't see it, because my whole thing is if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, and I don't see it. And if I can't see it, I can't use it. If I can't use it, then I can't work on it, the whole thing. So that is where I'm at with that. I think I have said all the things that I wanted to say. Thank you all so very much for your congratulations on the 30 days. It has, if I told you it was easy, I'd be telling you a lie. And I don't know why I would think at 30 days, 45 days, it would be any easier. It hasn't been long enough, although I don't think about it as often, and I don't talk about it either as often. I don't, most of my friends and family know, so I don't have to talk about it. You know, they just, how you feeling today? And I'll just be like, oh, I'm doing okay. Today's an okay day, you know, and they understand what I'm saying. And so I hope that you also understand what I'm saying. Because I just don't want to linger on it. I don't want it to be something that I just keep lingering on. I did want to continue. I did want to finish what my March plans were, since by the time I see you again, we will be like 3 to 4 days into March. So on March the 1st, I am going to have a new start. And it is, as it turns out, on March the 1st, back in, well, shoot. I thought in 1803, Ohio was founded. And so on March the 1st, 2024, I will be starting the 23rd, which is Ohio. It was the 17th state, so I don't know why it says 23rd. It says, it has all these facts in it about the state of Ohio. And it says that the name Ohio comes from the Seneca and means the Great River. It talks about the Buckeye trees, and it gives all of this information in this is on the back side of the chart. It was the 17th state. So on February the 1st, Lord help me, on March the 1st, I will be starting Ohio by threadmilkdesigns.com. So if you have this chart or you live in the state of Ohio and want to participate, please join me. I am hoping to get this out, get it started, and get it finished within the month of March. Here's hoping and praying. I had hoped that I would be able to use like Buckeye Scarlet from Gentle Arts, but I don't have Buckeye Scarlet. And I'm going to go with 347, which is close to Buckeye Scarlet. It's a DMC, so it just won't be variegated. And I'll be finding a fabric for it by Friday. Because also on Friday is March the 1st, and I will be working on the next part of the 1 dozen Quaker style. So, you know, like there's a lot going on that very first weekend in March. So we'll have to do all we can. And those are just a couple of things that I have planned. Hopefully when I come back next time, I will have all of the March plans pinned down. It'll still be early enough in the month to where, you know, you'll get to see all of the plans that I have that will be going on for March. So I hope you all are doing very well. I hope that you are beginning to see some spring sightings. I am hoping that we had another 2 inches of snow this past weekend, and so I'm hoping that the snow will be over soon. Luckily, they are like day storms, so they come in at night or early in the morning, and then by mid-morning of the next day, the sun is out melting the snow, so it's not as bad. I do know that there are retreats already starting, so please be careful and have safe travels to and from your retreats. And I hope to see you again really soon. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.